All right, you guys. So in 2024, Naziah Harris was a 13-year-old from Detroit, Michigan. So very early on in life, Naziah's grandmother, Annette Harris, gained custody of her. So Naziah's biological mother, she faced a lot of turmoil in her life, and that ultimately led to Annette getting Naziah around 2016. So in 2024, the family lived in Detroit. Naziah lived with her grandmother, and her 16-year-old brother did as well. So also living in the home with them was Shannon, which is Annette's daughter. So Shannon is Naziah's aunt. So Shannon also had kids with this man by the name of Jarvis Butts. So even though Shannon and Jarvis had 5 children, Jarvis had 13 children total. And some of these children were even created while he was with Shannon. Now Shannon is saying that she knew that Jarvis had other women, and at some point she decides to not be in a relationship with him, but she continues to mess around with him. So at some point, Shannon moves out of the home with her mother, but she's still there regularly. And so are her kids. And the father of her children, Jarvis, he's a mechanic and he works at this auto shop. And sometimes Jarvis will ask Shannon could their oldest daughter, Janiyah, and Naziah come to their shop to help him. Now y'all, let me stop the story and say this. Jarvis has been a registered offender since the early 2000s. So before he had even gotten into a relationship with Shannon, he was accused of doing things to underage girls. And he was convicted of these things, making him a registered offender. So before she even got with this man and had 5 kids, she had to have known that he had a very dark past. Now let's fast forward to January 9th of 2024. Naziah Harris goes to school as usual, and after school, the bus driver is saying that they dropped her back off at her bus stop that's not far from her home. But what's crazy about this is Naziah never makes it home. Now you would think, okay, this 13-year-old, she's not home. She's usually home by a certain time. As her guardian, her grandmother should have instantly knew something was wrong and contacted police. But we find out that police was not contacted until that next day when her grandmother went to the school in order to let them know what was going on.
At that time, did you have a conversation with someone else about her not coming home, Naziah not coming home?
Yeah, when I picked my children up from the after-school program, I went in and my daughter said,
Objection to what her daughter said from the hearsay.
I'll rephrase the question.
Okay, sustain.
Just talking about what you saw and heard, and not asking for what anybody said, but did you talk to Shannon, your daughter?
yes,
about
Shannon said she was not there.
So they knew that evening that Naziah had not returned home from school. In that testimony, she said that even Shannon said that she wasn't there, and Shannon said that even the kids said that they hadn't seen Naziah. But still, nobody said anything until that next morning. So the first people to actually investigate this case was the Detroit public school system. And they are the ones that actually got police involved. So the search for Naziah begins. Now, let me say this. I covered this case in February of 2024. By the time I had covered Naziah's case, there was still not a lot of attention on this case. So I remember that they deemed her a runaway. Annette was on the news. She said she had no idea where Naziah was. But other family members that were estranged from this family, they came forward. Now, they did remain anonymous, but they said that they had actually reported abuse in Annette's home. One even went so far as to saying that she knew one day Naziah would be a missing person. Okay, so Naziah, she's missing. But in my heart, it felt like nobody was truly looking for her. For weeks and weeks, this case went with no answers. And then in March, that's when things started to come out. So it turns out that Naziah was using a school tablet on the day that she went missing. And that is where we get this infamous picture of her smiling and waving. This was taken on the day that she disappeared. So they end up getting a warrant in order to go through this tablet. And y'all, when they go through that tablet, they found disturbing messages between Naziah and Jarvis Butts. So these messages are extremely graphic, y'all. It details him saying things that he wants to do to Naziah. And at one point, she even says, "Come get me." Now, police see that and they know they need to talk to Jarvis Butts. Now, once they do catch up with Jarvis, he denies anything. He tells police, "Look, you can go through my phone. I have nothing to hide. I haven't seen Naziah since December." But police end up talking to the man that works at his auto shop, King. And King says, "No, I remember back on January 9th, the day that Naziah went missing, me and Jarvis was working on a vehicle and we needed to go to AutoZone. Now, once we went to AutoZone, we saw this girl walking, and that girl was Naziah Harris." Now, Jarvis played it off to King as if Naziah was just his niece and he was giving her a ride. But Naziah went back to the shop on that evening and sat in a truck while King and Jarvis fixed on another car. That is proof right there that Naziah was with Jarvis on the last day that she was seen. So later on, even Jarvis's sister would come forward and say that she saw Naziah on that day as well at that shop. Which is not shocking because remember, Shannon even said that at some point Naziah and Janiyah will go help him at the shop. So police end up tracking his cell phone data that day and they realized that he was with Naziah. By August, they end up arresting him and charging him in the disappearance of Naziah. And they say that after reviewing text messages between Jarvis and Naziah, they do presume her to be dead, but they do not have a body. So in March, they made a few discoveries. They found a black hoodie, they found headphones in the pocket, and they found a shoe. They also had found a pink jumpsuit. Now they believe these items to be Naziah's. Now, after Jarvis's arrest, we learned some more shocking details in this case. It turns out that Naziah is not the only person that Jarvis did this to in that family, and he is accused of even trying to do something to his own daughter. Not only that, a cousin of Naziah is saying that at one point in time, she witnessed some very shocking things happen between Jarvis and Naziah, and Jarvis even tried to come on to her. Now, one thing I have to point out is, it's being said that Shannon allegedly knew about the relationship between Naziah and Jarvis way back. So we know that Naziah would frequently use her aunt's phone. And sometimes I'm guessing Jarvis wouldn't know if it was Shannon or Naziah calling him from the phone and would confuse the two. Now, Shannon is still saying that she had no idea that nothing was going on. But allegedly, there is proof that she confronted Jarvis about his inappropriate relationship with Naziah. She saw text messages and pictures between the two, but y'all, she never reported it. So y'all, let me say this. What you see going around is the preliminary hearing. So that hearing is being held in order to see if a judge wants to take this to trial. One thing I noticed at this hearing is this man had a fiance. He had 3-4 baby mamas. And y'all, all of these women thought that they were in a relationship with him at that time. Another thing I want to point out is so many people saw Naziah with this man. And for some reason, nobody reported it, even knowing that this man had a very crazy past. In my heart, I feel like a lot of people failed Naziah. Jarvis Butts is a monster. There is no doubt in my mind. He should have been in prison a long time ago. But this baby did not stand a chance in this situation. So I wanted to cover Naziah's case in order for you guys to see the total background in this situation. It is being alleged that he unalived Naziah because he found out that she was pregnant. Now, although Naziah's body has never been found, this is a murder case. Now, y'all, my heart breaks for Naziah. And I'm going to keep you guys updated as this case progresses because it is going to trial. And in my heart, I feel like a lot of more people are going to be arrested. Comment below and let me know your thoughts on this case.